Good morning, and a bit more benign than what yesterday's trade may have looked like. That's the setup for this morning. Thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup. I'm Neeraj Shah. And the global news flow: Japan to join the US effort to tighten chip exports to China. In fact, we learned that, at least as per the Bloomberg story, that even Netherlands is going to be a part of that effort to tighten the chip exports to China. Oil has jumped nearly 3% on supply risks amidst the ongoing Keystone outage. A flood of Russian crude is headed to Asia after EU ban kicks in. And the reason why I brought both of these points is because India stands to be okay, despite the fact that crude availability may be a bit of an issue this winter. And India and China troops apparently are set to clash near the disputed border last week, as per media reports. Now, this could be a bit disconcerting for markets because all through it has been kind of believed that things are okay out there. Hopefully, it's just a flash of a moment skirmish and not really something major from an India-China perspective. Let's wait and watch how this situation unfolds. But the markets are benign. The U.S. markets did okay in yesterday's session, as you can see. The Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq, good showing put up there. Yields have moved up a bit. So remember, last week we saw numbers of 3.45 or thereabouts on the US 10-year yield. It's now at 3.60, so down zero point 0.3 bips this morning, but has inched up from the 3.45 mark. CBOE VIX is now at 25 instead of being 20. The dollar index, though, is steady at 104, 105 or there levels. So there. But again, both of these levels are not really disconcerting. Just what CBOE VIX and the US 10-year yield, just mentioning that they are no longer as low as they used to. The SGX Nifty should come up on your screen next. And while we weathered the storm slightly better in trade yesterday, it's like slated to have a mildly positive start. Let's wait and watch if this holds up in the session today. Conflicting views. Remember, inflation data was okay, but I think even in the inflation data, there were conflicting views. So CPI has eased from 6.77% to sub 6% in November, 5.88% for the month of November 2022. Food inflation was lower at 5.07 versus 7.01% month on month, but the sticky core inflation remains at 6.28% and therefore remains elevated. Add to that the fact that the IB numbers didn't look all that great, and there's a bit of a concern there, if you will. So therefore, with what's the trade setup there with all of these perspectives, right? So markets are likely to have a benign open on the back of the US stocks inching up for sure. But cap goods, who knows, could see a corrective move post the IP numbers softening. And OMCs, which have been gaining traction, may pause slightly in trade post the jump in crude prices. In fact, I will, at the same breath, watch out for ONGC, Oil India, and the likes, as both oil and natural gas have climbed, even for Reliance for that matter. So that's something that I would watch out for. But certainly, cap goods could be in focus. Remember, a bunch of these stocks are trading at fairly high gains as well. Valuations in some cases are not too cheap either. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And by the way, a view on this as well as the capex cycle with the management of Thermax is slated to happen at 9:30 a.m. today. So you might want to tune in for that. Now, there is also an IPO, a Landmark Cars IPO opening, and Reliance Securities says that you should subscribe to it. Based on FY22 earnings, the stock is valued at, or the IPO is valued at 30 times PE, 12 times EV EBITDA, and 0.7 times EV to sales. They believe that the premium market segment is expected to grow at a CAGR of 10 to 12% over the next couple of years. And therefore, on the back of that, companies likely to report healthy numbers over the next couple of years. That's why they have a subscribe rating on Landmark Cars. I'll try and get you more broker perspective over the course of the next 2 days uh, on Landmark Cars. Some IPOs are doing what? Oh, very good. So they are blowing hot. Some cases they are blowing cold. Might want to be careful before you put in money into any of these companies coming out. So over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, we'll get you multiple opinion about Landmark Cars to enable you to choose whether or not to subscribe to this issue. What about stocks to monitor in the session today? Now, remember, I'm starting off with a note that came in from Citi on Friday because it's important, because Yesterday, the oil marketing companies had a really good, strong uptick. So what Citi had said on Friday is that crude prices correcting and corresponding regional gasoline and diesel prices having fallen by 20 to $30 per barrel over that period led to diesel finally being close to break-even levels for the oil marketing companies from a retail marketing perspective. And therefore, they believe this could quicken the pace of earnings normalization for the oil marketing companies, especially for HPCL. While they prefer a BPCL from a risk reward perspective because it's got a more balanced refining and marketing mix, but because this has got a larger marketing implication, HPCL could offer the highest beta given the refining marketing mix that is more skewed towards the latter, which is more skewed towards marketing. And as a result of which, I'm not saying it's because of Citi's note, but because of this belief that the market may have had, the oil marketing companies have done really well in trade yesterday. HP was up about 4.5, BP was up about 3.5. The question is, can these last in light of the fact that oil has actually jumped up a little bit? So a strong uptrend for oil marketing companies. Can that last is the question. Now, MK Quant believes that on HPCL at least is above its 200 EMA, and with rising RSI, the stock looks bullish and can rise by about 3 to 5% in the near term. We've missed out the point wherein it also shows what the stock has done in a week. It's gone up 7% in the last 1 week, and which is also very important to keep in mind that there is a bit of a rally that has already happened for HPCL, but MK Quant believes that it could rise by about 3 to 5% in the near term. Keep in mind, rising crude prices or crude prices having risen a little bit overnight may just put a bit of a spanner in the wheels for an HPCL or a BPCL for that matter. So be mindful of that. Paytm is in focus. The board meet today to consider buyback. Maybe the stock might be more active tomorrow, but wait and watch for this. Some stocks in news include a KC International, which has gotten orders worth 1349 crores in various segments, or Tata Motors, which mulls partial divestment of Tata Tech stake by IPO, or Root Mobile, wherein the Uganda Telecommunications Corporation has appointed the company's subsidiary 365 Squared as its exclusive partner for SMS firewall and A2P SMS monetization solutions and services. So do watch out for Root Mobile as well in the session today. Gaming companies could be in focus because Minister of State for the Ministry of Finance, Pankaj Chaudhary, has said that India's gaming companies, including those that are online, evaded the goods and services tax worth rupees 229 billion rupees. That's a large sum between April 2019 and November, which is the November gone by. Now, we don't know which companies, whether all companies are involved, but this certainly doesn't seem to be pretty good, very good news for, or good news for the gaming companies. We've got now in the listed space, we've got Delta and Nazara. Now, I do not know which of these companies might be under investigation if there is an investigation in the first place. Now, whether that has a financial impact or no, I do not know. Could it have a sentimental impact today? It sure could. So do watch out for the gaming companies as well. Then in terms of brokerage notes, Dalmia Bharat, most brokerages viewers, I have not got you too many brokerage notes on Dalmia Bharat because most brokers are saying that they are waiting and watching if indeed this deal fructifies. But if it does, then for Dalmia Bharat, it's a big kicker. It helps them in their pan-India cement ambitions, and therefore, if anything, it should only aid Dalmia Bharat. The stock was up about 3% yesterday because it came in during the market hours, as was anticipated, by the way. That will come in. I'm not saying it was anticipated it'll come in during market hours. The deal was anticipated, and Grapevine knew it. And we saw multiple media companies during the course of the trading day yesterday put out the news that they learned source base that this is going to happen. So most people knew about the impending Dalmia Bharat deal likely to happen. The fact that it came out during market hours led to the stock being up 3% already. Can it do more remains to be seen. But it'll be interesting to see what it does for the cement space at large. So that is part one. And Kotak Securities has come out with a note on asset management companies. They have a reduced rating on HDFC AMC, and they're the most bullish on UTI AMC. They believe there's a 20% upside there. So that could keep UTI, HDFC, etc. in focus today. So do watch out for that. Now, let me just very quickly scan some of the other market sources to try and see if there is something else that I'm missing that we should be focusing on. Um uh, no, I mean, so one, of course, I've spoken about how Brent might be important. So that is something to keep in mind. Uh, PSP projects, Ashish Kacholia bought about 10 lakh shares, so do watch out for that one. Wellspun India, the trust bought about 3.2 lakh shares, so that is something to watch out for. And yeah, that's about it. I don't think there are too many other newsmakers in the session today. Delta Corp, remember, is in a F&O ban, so therefore trading activity might be a bit muted there. That's the long and short of at least what I've read today. Maybe I've missed something, so please excuse me for that. There is, of course, a set of stocks to keep in mind based on what happened in trade on Monday. So Metropolis, GCPL, Dixon, Glenmark, all of these declined on fairly high volumes. And these are all liquid names, which is why I'm choosing these today as opposed to the cash market names. Be mindful of that. Maybe some trend changes here. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a safe day ahead. A bunch of conversations, as I said today. Thermax at 9:30, IIP Data Week. We'll talk to Thermax about what is 2023 in store. Sandeep Tandon of Quant Mutual Fund joins in at 10 a.m. today. They've gotten some of the best performing funds have come in from the quant stable in the last 12 months. It'll be interesting to see what their strategies are. And then at 12 p.m., Rakesh Arora of Go India Advisors, as smart a name as it comes in cement, will come in and talk about the implications of this uh, Dalmia Bharat JP Associates deal for Dalmia Bharat Cement as well as for the sector. So three very interesting conversations that you can't afford to miss. Do try and tune in for one of these at least, whichever is your interest. And stay safe.